Dillian the Body Snatcher White here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
I am too big, too strong, and too athletic, among many words that Dominic Breazeale has said about Dillian Whyte, as he wants to have a fight with Dillian Whyte. Now, first of all, when you lose your last fight by brutal knockout in the first round, the last thing in the world that you do is call out somebody at the top. Okay, you need to build yourself back up. Dillian Whyte, he can't even fight Dominic Breazeale anyway, because Breazeale's not ranked in the top 15 of the WBC. As Dillian Whyte is the interim world heavyweight champion, he has the same responsibilities as the full champion, Tyson Fury, currently, where he must fight as a voluntary the top 15. Okay, now, when it comes to Dominic Breazeale, he's had plenty of opportunities to fight Dillian Whyte before, but didn't go through with it, and that's a fact. And if you don't believe me, go back to, I think it's either my second or my third interview with Eddie Hearn. I sat down with him, we had the interview, and I mentioned Dominic Breazeale, because at the time, Dominic Breazeale, he was the mandatory. And I said to Eddie Hearn, why make the Whyte-Chisora rematch when Dillian Whyte, he needs to be going for the world title? And the best way to do that is to fight Dominic Breazeale. Now, Eddie Hearn, he had put in an offer to Dominic Breazeale, which was turned down, and a offer was turned down by Luis Ortiz as well, where Luis Ortiz, he didn't want to fight at the O2 Arena as a pay-per-view headliner. He wanted to fight on the Wilder Fury Part 1 undercard. Okay, so that's why the whole fight with Derek Chisora Part 2 came about, because at that time, Derek Chisora, he was messing about. He wasn't too sure about the money. Of course, he just taken on David Haye. Negotiations weren't going great. At that point is when they offered Dominic Breazeale and Luis Ortiz. Dominic Breazeale, he wanted to wait around for the world title shot because he was mandatory. He shouldn't have been mandatory. I mean, how do you become mandatory? By defeating Eric Molina? And the WBC done Dillian Whyte. That's one of many occasions where they've done Dillian Whyte dirty. All right? So they did put in an offer to Dominic Breazeale. Dominic Breazeale turned it down. He wanted to wait for his world title opportunity. After the Wilder Fury 1 fight, the WBC then ordered the rematch between Wilder and Tyson Fury. Okay, now, this was at the time just before Tyson Fury signed that 5-fight deal with ESPN on Top Rank for $100 million, where he actually pulled out of the rematch even though it was ordered. And at that point, the WBC said, okay then, let's make Dominic Breazeale versus Dillian Whyte for the mandatory. Negotiations were going on. Fury then pulled out of the rematch with Wilder. The WBC then told Dominic Breazeale to go fight Wilder. That's how that fight came about. So even though the WBC ordered Whyte versus Breazeale, it was Breazeale who pulled out of the negotiations to go fight Wilder. Now, I don't blame him too much on that one because that was his world title opportunity. Okay, it's not Dominic Breazeale's fault that the WBC dropped the ball and showed favouritism towards the PBC fighters, as they always do. So I don't blame Dominic Breazeale for pulling out of the ordered fight with Dillian Whyte to go fight Wilder, but I do blame Dominic Breazeale for at least one more occasion that an offer was put forward, where Dominic Breazeale, he decided to go fight that scrub. I forget who his damn name was, but his one fight in about a period of 18 months. So he went into the Wilder fight inactive is what he done, because he didn't want any kind of smoke with Dillian Whyte. He didn't want to risk his position. All right, so again, there's like a misconception about Dominic Breazeale and Luis Ortiz that Dillian Whyte turned down fights with them. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. They pulled out of any kind of talks with Dillian Whyte. That's a fact. I've got all the receipts on my channel for that. Okay, so for Dominic Breazeale to suddenly now be talking about Dillian Whyte, are you off your trolley? You get blasted out in round number 1. You get humiliated. You get embarrassed. You let loads of people down because you couldn't do the basic of survive of round 1. I mean, that should be pretty simple to survive round 1, shouldn't it? Anyway, Dominic Breazeale, if he's too big, if he's too strong, if he's too athletic, he's neither of those when it comes to Dillian Whyte. He may have a size advantage. He may have, well, he may be stronger than Dillian Whyte. I don't know. But athletic? Hell to the no. Dominic Breazeale is as slow as a snail. He's probably slower than Joe Joyce, to be fair. I mean, can you imagine Joe Joyce and Dominic Breazeale having a fight? But I don't know, it'd be like watching two sloughs, wouldn't it? But Dillian Whyte would absolutely annihilate Dominic Breazeale. Now, don't get me wrong, I think that with Dominic Breazeale's height, his size and everything, is probably better preparation for Dillian Whyte ahead of a potential fight with Tyson Fury, more than what Povetkin is. Povetkin is quite short in comparison to Tyson Fury and Dominic Breazeale. So Dominic Breazeale, suddenly now he's interested in a Dillian Whyte fight. Why? Because he's got nowhere to go. That's why. And Dillian Whyte is a opportunity for, first of all, big money, and second of all, if he can somehow get the win over Dillian Whyte, which I highly doubt that, but if he did, then he's back in the position to get a world title shot. Dominic Breazeale, he's had 2 world title shots and got battered on both of them. When he took on a novice, Anthony Joshua, he lost every second of every round, even though Anthony Joshua had glandular fever. And Joshua knocked him out in round number 7 when Breazeale was undefeated. So for him to be calling out Dillian Whyte, no. What Dominic Breazeale needs to be doing, if he wants to get back into world title contention, is be looking at the likes of a Joseph Parker, looking at the likes of a Derek Chisora, looking at a Luis Ortiz or a Andy Ruiz Jr., these kind of guys. And with Luis Ortiz, Andy Ruiz Jr., F.A. Jagba, all these kind of guys who are ranked in the WBC, these are the guys that he should be able to be fighting without any kind of problems, including Charles Martin, who's also ranked in the WBC, unbelievably. But these are the kind of guys that he needs to be focusing on, not Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte, he's been waiting for a long, long time to have a world title opportunity. It's just around the corner. He's already risking his position again against Povetkin. For what reason is he mentioning the name of Dillian Whyte? There's no reason for it whatsoever. Maybe because he knows there's no chance of that fight happening. None whatsoever. Because after Povetkin, if Dillian Whyte is successful, touch wood that he is, then he's going to be fighting for the world title next against Tyson Fury. That's already been ordered for February. So how is Dominic Breazeale going to fit into that? He ain't going to fit into that, which is probably why he's talking about it. But at the same time, he probably would fight Dillian Whyte now because he's got nowhere to go. You see, these guys, they have their opportunities to fight Dillian Whyte at a certain point in time and don't want to do it until they have nowhere else to go. And then they see Dillian Whyte as a gateway off to better things after. Because they don't want to risk it against Dillian Whyte beforehand, but when they're backed into a corner and they've got nowhere to go, suddenly now they're interested in Dillian Whyte. Same thing happened with Lucas Browne. When Lucas Browne was WBA regular world champion, he didn't want to fight Dillian Whyte. Suddenly he loses the belt and this, that and the other, and then he's interested in Dillian Whyte. Same with Povetkin. Povetkin could have fought Dillian Whyte long before, but he didn't want to do it. He turned down Dillian Whyte because he wanted his opportunity against Anthony Joshua. He loses to Anthony Joshua. Suddenly now he's interested in Dillian Whyte. Do you see the pattern? It's the same thing with Dominic Breazeale, same thing with Luis Ortiz, and it'll be the same thing with Andy Ruiz Jr., who just turned down, 5 million to fight Dillian Whyte. No, 7 million, sorry. Personally, I think that Dominic Breazeale, as I said, he needs to be looking at other opponents. Dillian Whyte is on his own level right now. Okay, he needs his world title shot. So for me, if I was Dillian Whyte, I'd just sit around and wait. But he wants to risk it against Povetkin. Dominic Breazeale, is he too big, too strong, too athletic? Hell to the no. Hell to the no. Dillian Whyte would annihilate Dominic Breazeale. And I don't think that there's too many people out there who would disagree with that statement, to be honest with you. Don't get me wrong, I think Breazeale, he carries a lot of power. And yes, he did hurt Wilder in their few seconds of their fight. But ultimately, he got blasted. He got absolutely blasted because he threw a damn left hook with his feet stationary. Of course, you're going to get hit and go out. You embarrassed yourself with what you've done. So mentioning the name Dillian Whyte is ridiculous. Ridiculous. As I said before, you can't fight him anyway. You're not in the top 15, so go fight someone in the top 15, take their position, and if a fight can be made, for example, if Fury Joshua end up fighting and Dillian Whyte is sat around, hey, why not? He's a tall opponent. But right now, madness. Anyway, listen, that's my opinion. I think Dominic Breazeale is just talking absolute breeze. Why should Dillian Whyte give him a favour when he turned down Dillian Whyte on at least 2 occasions that I have facts for? And apparently there are more. So suddenly now he wants Dillian Whyte. Behave yourself. Have an absolute word. Go fight some more scrubs, okay? Anyway, that's my thoughts on it all. Of course, you drop me yours. The link to this with Dominic Breazeale will be in the description box for the source. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel before you head on over there. Click a thumbs up or a thumbs down, doesn't matter. A rating is a rating. It's better than not doing either. Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all in the next video.